Hi, everybody. We are back with Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is our third episode, and we are going to talk about, once again, I didn't check before I looked, 34 through
50.
54? 34 through
Yeah.
54. Yeah. This was honestly like a wild ride. Like, so much happened in these 20 chapters that I honestly feel like I got whiplash. And I just need to, like, quick palate cleanser. I want everyone, like, let's just talk about what we liked. Like, what in this section, like, gave you like butterflies, like made you giggle, like what was it that was just like a breath of fresh air amidst all of the tomfoolery that was going on?
I liked getting to see Jax more. I missed him. Love Jax.
Jax is great.
Two.
I also
Um,
liked when Peyton went into the throne room after killing Kai, which I didn't like. And people were like, "You didn't kill Kai," and she like had her badass like psychic moment. It's always nice seeing her use her psychic powers, which I feel like she hasn't been doing as much recently. So it was good to see again.
That was so much fun. I loved her being a badass. Like the moments where Peyton is a badass is like, yes, this is the kind of Peyton that I like. And then yeah, I also really liked when she like broke it down for Kit and Kai after. Like they were like, "How'd you do it?" And she like told them her trick. Like I thought that was cool.
Mhm.
um, the her meeting Mac for the first time and them having that moment that was really special.
Was wrong. Guys, I was wrong, and I'm happy to admit it. Like, I'm so glad that Mac was in this book. I'm gonna focus on the first scene that Mac was in. I liked that Mac was in this book. Up until he comes back into this book. But that scene was really cute, and I really enjoyed like their moment together where they like found each other and they connected over how much they love Adina. Jamie, stop looking like that. I'm not ready to talk about when Mac comes back in this section.
I didn't like that character because literally I was like, so we finally get Mac, and it's just him being like, "I'm mad at you. Like you're the reason Adina's dead," and she's like, "Yeah, I am the reason Adina's dead." And then they hug, and then that's it. And I was like, "Okay, makes sense that you're mad," but like I was kind of hoping for like a cute little friendship to form and them to like become buds. So and then after that scene, I was like convinced. I was like, "Okay, so that's our Mac scene. Like he's gone forever. Don't like that." And then it got worse. It was worse than never seeing him again.
You know, I said I'm not ready to talk about it, but I feel like we have to talk about it. This is as normal a segue as we're gonna get. Yeah, I entirely agree with you, Elena. My worry post first Mac scene was, is that it? Like, is that really like? And I was like, okay, at least he came back. I'm thankful that there was that, but I was really hopeful that Mac was then going to play a bigger role in the plot. And when I threw that out into the universe, I didn't think that he was going to play the role of random punching bag for Peyton to kill for some reason that has become unclear as of this point. Like, can anyone make it make sense for me? Why did Mac go to them and ask to be murdered?
Well, everything that made the most sense because like clearly he misses Adina. Like everyone he loves and cares about is dead, and he was like, she died. Like it's something very similar to Peyton, where like Peyton was like, Adina died here, so like I want to die. Like I'm okay dying here. Like that we get Peyton's POV in that situation. And I'm assuming that's Mac's POV too, is that like the girl he loved died here, and like
I think the hard thing, and like this might be a weird part to like start to try to tackle the overarching plot. Because like if you're just watching this because you want to get everything that we've thought about Fearless and you haven't read it, like buckle up, honestly. If you have been reading it, like you know that there's no good way to like get into what is going on in this plot because there's a lot going on. And I think my problem with trying to figure out like what the cool twists might be in this book is I don't trust any of the characters in what they're telling me. Like I feel like we don't have a single point of truth that I can be like, "Ah, yes." Like everything Peyton's telling me I know is the truth. So I can at least like use that as a jumping off point. We don't really know. So as far as Mac goes, the only things that we know for sure are that he's dead theoretically. You know that I love to say maybe not, maybe he's coming back. Um Theoretically dead. We saw Peyton's dagger in him. And what we learned from Kit, so again, I don't trust a single thing that comes out of that boy's mouth at this point, is that Mac came to them for some reason. And then, like, this happened. They set him up to pretend to be Kai for this third trial. And I'm trying to figure out what Mac's motivations would be to go to his lover's killer, like his family, and offer himself for something. Any
There's not a good
theories?
reason. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's disappointing because I really, like, thought it was possible, if not likely, that Mac and Kai were siblings,
Yeah.
and now it's seeming less likely, unless we
Yeah.
just killed him off before we find that out.
Yeah. Like nobody's parents are their parents. And I don't even know that we know who everyone's parents are at this point. Like we don't. We definitely don't. But I don't even know if some of the things that we think are true are true.
Oh, I have a question for you guys. Are
Yeah.
we going to find out who Kai's dad is, or is it not relevant? Because we get like, oh, who's his dad? And then the advisor's like, oh, some guy, it doesn't really matter. And in this book, I don't know if it genuinely doesn't matter and we're just saying that so we don't ever have to address it, or if we're gonna find out later. And at this point, there's not like a clear person that I think could be his dad that would be relevant in any way. So I'm thinking it's just we're glossing over that.
I can't think of like a cool twist that could come from Kai's dad. Like now that we know that Kai's dad is not the king, I don't know who it could be that we'd be like, oh my goodness, what? Like I feel like it's just like some really powerful guy helped like make Kai into the wielder that he is. I also thought that we were gonna learn that he and Mac were brothers, which we wondered about in Powerful. Like, were they related? And maybe we still will. Maybe then Kai gets to be like, oh my god, my brother died for something. I don't. Jamie, any theories on what Mac's motivations would be to go to Kit?
I don't get like I don't know how he got from Loot to, you know, the castle to do that. Like
Yeah.
it just seems so random that he volunteered as tribute, for this trial that's supposed to be secret.
Well, right. And that's sort of where I'm coming from is like it's not like they put out auditions for like, oh, trial number 3, we need someone to pretend to be Kai Azer. Like so at least at this point, I'm assuming Kit's lying. Like I'm assuming that Mac did not come to them, that they like forced him to do this for some reason. Because even if Mac wanted to like get revenge on Peyton, which I feel was like kind of what they were hinting at, was that maybe Mac did really want to kill her or hurt her in this trial.
But then
It,
he has her kill him at the end. Like he completely abandons that.
yeah, and Peyton is like, oh, would he have killed me if the trial happened before we met? And maybe, but it just I have a hard time believing that Mac like walked up to the castle and was like, "Hey, you just killed my girlfriend, but now I hate her best friend for having a role in her death. Is there any way that I could help you kill Peyton Gray? Like, is there any way that I could help you like find her and bring her back?" I just have a hard time believing that he would be like, "Wielder here, don't shoot. I want to help." Like,
I think you need to suspend your disbelief. I do not
yeah,
think there's going to be another like secret reason that we find out from Kit that Mac was willing to help. I
you
think we're
think
sup-
Mac's story's over?
Yes.
Mm.
I genuinely think we're supposed to be like, "Oh, he wanted revenge, changed his mind at the last minute."
'Cause the thing that I have been fearing is, like, was Mac all along just, like, a convenient plot point for the, like, have Peyton kill Kai, but not really Kai? And, like, do we think that that's, like, his whole role,
Yes.
unfortunately? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. That's fine. I can be at peace with that because I can't make it, like, factor into the overarching plot at this point.
Yeah, like, I think if it's anything else, I'll be very surprised. Like, if there's something bigger to it, like, I'll say I was wrong, but, like, right now,
Yeah.
it feels like we have enough to try and figure out in the last quarter of this book.
Yes, yes. No, like I feel like everything is very tangled. Like I don't even know how to attack this knot. If that's not clear by how I don't even really know what angle to come at in this episode.
So, do we think Callum is Peyton's dad? And if so,
Yes.
who knows about it?
Calum. Okay, I lied. I think out of living people in this world, Callum is the only person who knows that he's her dad. I do think that Callum told Peyton's dad. So, to take a step back, the reasons that I truly believe Callum is her dad is that, like, her dad has to be someone. Unlike Mac, whose parentage I think we can just, like, sweep under the rug, I think that for the end of the story to feel satisfying, I would need to know who Peyton's parents are. And it just seems very clear that it's not the king. Like, the king is not her father. Um, I feel like it has to be Callum because he's the only person that makes sense at this point in the story. And I think Callum told Peyton's non biological father, this is the situation. I had an affair with the queen. I need you to hide this girl.
I think the only alternative is the king could be her dad and Callum was in love with her mom. Like, there is a slight chance, like, he's not her, like, actual dad and she is technically the king's daughter, which is why, like, ties into her being queen later, but it's equally likely that she's just Callum's full daughter.
Having said that, I do want to say out loud, it makes no sense in terms of the, like, how do we make an ordinary rules that we think we know. But at this point, I'm just assuming that what we've assumed up until now, that, like, mind reader plus really powerful, like, emotion manipulator could equal ordinary, or that, like, brawny plus iris could also equal ordinary. So I feel like it's hard to really figure out who Peyton's parents could be because none of the situation, like none of the matchups that we have right now would make sense for ordinary.
I'm waiting to get to the end of this book and them to be like, and she takes off her father's ring and it was holding back her powers the whole time.
Why did
What?
you just
Uh,
why did you just say
what?
that?
Like some kind of canceling out her powers if she had any?
Elena, are you onto something though?
I mean, she if it was gonna be anything, it would be her dad's ring. Like, I don't genuinely think that's gonna happen, but I
Okay,
also don't think
I'm gonna stop you right there because this is almost word for word the conversation we had in the first episode of Reckless, where you were like, I mean, Kit probably just wants her to come back to the castle alive so he can force her to marry him. And I think I made the exact same face I just made just now. And then you go, no, but I'm never right. So it's definitely not that. Like, that ring has been in almost every other scene in this series, like up until now. Like she is constantly fiddling with that thing. Oh my goodness. Is it the ring?
I don't think so. Like, genuinely, I don't think so, but, like, you're right. If her parents are either the king or Callum and Iris, it doesn't make sense that she's an ordinary based on literally everything we've ever been told about how ordinaries work.
And like
So,
yeah.
either there's something holding back her power, or we're just breaking all of the rules that we thought we knew about ordinaries. Or we
And
forgot a big rule. I don't know.
also if we are trusting that that silencer did sense like the baby not having any
Mhm.
powers, we have to assume that if the baby is Peyton, which like the baby has to be Peyton, like that she doesn't have powers. So okay, it's not the ring, but like that would have been a really cool twist.
Would it have been really cool, or would we have hated it?
No, I feel like it could have worked. Like, if it had made more sense further upstream. I liked it. You got me
Okay,
excited.
so Callum's the only one that knows he's her dad. Pitt definitely knows that she's his sister.
Peyton definitely knows what.
Pitt definitely knows that Peyton's his sister.
Okay. And I want to say, because I do think that there is a possibility, now that you guys have said all this, that like Callum might not be her dad. He definitely knows who her dad is, I will say, even if he's like random ordinary that's never
Mhm.
mentioned. It could be like the secret that Callum could be worried about getting out is that he knows the queen had an affair.
Yeah,
Because in all of Edric's chapters we've read, it somehow has not even occurred to him that he might have been cheated on, which I don't know how, but it hasn't, at least that
his
he's like said in
giant
these
ego.
chapters. Um, but yeah, to go to Kit, I don't know what to do with Kit because it does seem like he knows that Peyton is his sister. He makes that very heavy-handed comment about like her being born to be
To be
queen.
a queen.
He also makes that really heavy-handed comment about Kai and how like it was something about like them being brothers or something, and like it made it sound very much like Kit understood that Kai was not actually his brother. So it feels like Kit knows both of these things, but like then his mom, he's upset about his mom dying in childbirth with him and seems genuinely upset about it. Is he just upset about her dying in childbirth period and is putting on an act? Like I don't know which one to believe.
Yeah, that was confusing.
I believe all of it.
It's all simultaneously true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very possible.
Before we launch into Kit, because I feel like Kit is like at least two different people at this point, and I feel like we could probably dissect his actions and motivations for like a good 3 hours. With Callum, what what is his MO? Like, do either of you have a working theory on if he does know that Peyton and Kit are siblings? Why is he letting this wedding go through? Like, is it that the wedding isn't actually going to happen, but they need to make it look good?
No, the wedding's definitely gonna happen. Like, I think out of everything happening, it makes the most sense that Callum's pushing for this wedding.
I'm just throwing this out there, but maybe Caleb knows. Yeah, yeah, he knows everything. That kid is sick, but we need a leader, and it's gonna be Peyton.
Because that is a theory that has occurred to me as well. But Elena, what was your theory?
That's basically it. Like, assuming Peyton is his daughter, or like is the daughter of the woman that he potentially loved, or like he cares about her in some way, it would benefit him for her to be on the throne. Like, he would be invested in her being queen.
Hmm.
It's not like he can come out and be like, surprise, this is the king's daughter that like no one knew about. Like, she's queen now. Like, that wouldn't go over well. So like she has to marry Kit in order to become queen, and then like take her birthright this other way by like being queen. So they're gonna be married in name just in time for Kit to die of whatever illness he's dying of. And then she'll be queen. I don't exactly know why she couldn't just marry Kai and have the same thing happen when Kit dies, but that like is the only reason that makes sense for Calum to be pushing this.
No, because I mean, I can see how that would work, right? Because if Peyton were to just marry Kai and then Kit died, that would leave no heirs really to the throne, because I don't know that they would necessarily just like plug Kai and Peyton in. Like they might, but there might be more of like an outrage. Whereas
Yeah.
how they've done it really sets the stage for like Peyton being the true queen. And I can
Mhm.
see a world in which it's like, okay, they got married and then like she just ends up marrying Kai. Like they're
Yeah.
like, oh, now she's gonna be married to this king instead,
Yeah.
but nobody questions Peyton. So we just tell Peyton after the
Yeah.
fact, like, oh, sorry, like Kit has the black lung and he's not long for this world, so everything is good. And I have no problem with that. Where did this cough come from?
I don't know. It doesn't like that the healers can't heal. Like it's kind of weird. There's so much going on with
Right.
Kit. Like, are we gonna dig into Kit and his multiple personalities and his weird out of nowhere illness?
I think we have to, unless there's anything more that we can come up with on Callum, because I don't have a better working theory for
It,
other than like the wedding isn't actually going to happen, but the wedding is going to be like a staged assassination attempt. Because I feel like we've already had 5 opportunities for what was talked about in the prologue, but it might still be coming. Like, because we still haven't said, like, oh, it was Kit paying off Mac in the back alley to make it look convincing, because it totally could be, but it still hasn't been said. So is the make
and
it look convincing still coming? And is it like a staged assassination attempt at
speaking
the
of
wedding?
staged assassination attempts, the random fire when she kills Blair, didn't Candlestick after actually like fall over?
Quick detour. We're gonna get back to Kit and his multiple personalities. What happened in that scene with Blair? Because I actually had to re-listen to the end of that chapter twice. I listened to it a total of 3 times and was like, Peyton actually killed her? Because the first time when it was like, oh, she's dead, I was like, haha, no, she's not. And then it just kept going and I was like, wait a minute. And I
Nothing about
re-listened to
that
it.
scene made sense at all. Down to I feel like we had gotten so many breadcrumbs of like Lenny's flirting with Blair. Lenny says like, "Oh, Blair's not that bad." There's a scene where they're like sitting weirdly close to each other and like clearly flirting. Like, and like, there's a comment being like, "Oh, it looks like they're flirting," and
So,
then
okay, let's make it make sense. How does it make sense? Like, how could it possibly make sense? There's no way that a candle just got knocked over. Like, somebody set that room on fire.
Ooh, you
Who
know
has
who it
who has
was?
firepower?
Kit,
That little girl. Kid. I was gonna say the little girl that
I was
Lenny,
also gonna say Kit, but what?
a random child,
the random child that we meet in Reckless that he carried
Abigail?
that has like no, not Abigail. It was like some other name, I think. Who's a mix or partial, but she has like the smallest amount of, oh, he calls her dragon. And she
that
has like the
girl. She's
smallest
coming
amount.
back.
Yeah, she's coming back. Lenny
That
just
would
sneaked her
be
in, be like, I want you to meet my girlfriend.
that would be wild.
That would be crazy. Personally, I'm gonna go with Kit.
Yeah. No, I thought maybe like Kit set the room on fire to like set up Peyton to kill Blair, because
Okay, that sounds more reasonable.
it just seemed very convenient. Like Blair goads her and
Convenient.
then all of a sudden the room is like engulfed in flames, because again, if it really genuinely was a candle and we're supposed to believe like, oh, Lenny just knocked over a candle, it would be like, quick, like get something to like, smother the flames or whatever. Like, oh no, we lost a curtain. Like the whole room wouldn't have just erupted in flames.
It
Right.
had
Maybe
to be
she
something. The
she could have
only
used
other
her tell
what?
powers to extinguish it somehow.
The only other thought, literally, it was at that moment I was like, "Is this when we find out? Like, are we gonna start seeing random things happening around Peyton where we have to be like, she secretly had powers the whole time?"
The pain the whole
No.
time.
It really does not seem like that. Like it had to have been another attempt on Hayden's life, in my opinion, or like setting her up or something to fail, because it just seemed so weird.
But well, the weirdest part, random candlestick aside, that hopefully we find out at some point. Lemmy's reaction
Lenny's
Whoa.
reaction does seem really out of pocket. And I mean, even if we say that we looked too hard into the, like, him calling her sweetheart and whatever, I can believe that, but it seemed like at the very least they were friends. Like, even Blair is kind of like, oh, he's like growing on me. And like, she even has like a cute kind of nickname for him.
She has a nickname for him.
She calls him Ginger Snap.
Gingerbread?
No, I think it was,
Is it
it was
ginger?
really it was really cute though. Like, guys, I will admit, I had a millisecond after she called him Ginger Snap, and I was like, I might read that story. I might actually read the Blair Lenny romance, which I felt really conflicted about that feeling, but I'm going to admit it to both of you. Um, I just, even if they were just friends, the fact that Peyton literally murdered her in cold blood,
In
hot
front
blood,
of
I
him?
don't know, in front of him, like,
And
and
sticky hot blood.
yes, and he just was like kind of okay with it, but then also was like, it's fine, I'll see her in the next life.
Weird.
What? Like, is there a possibility that this is all a fugue dream and none of this book has happened and it's all just Blair's alive, Lenny's fine? I'm kidding. I'm mostly kidding, but there are so many things that keep happening that I'm just like, is all of this a joke that they're playing on Peyton? Like, is it just Peyton and Kai and everyone else is like in on it?
It's all part of the trial.
It's all a trial.
It's all a trial.
It's just seemed very strange.
It was so weird. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry for distracting from whatever
No,
is going on with Kit.
it needed to be said. Yeah, I don't understand Lenny's. And like, just to continue talking about Lenny before we like put him to rest, what was the whole thing with him asking for Peyton to like let him go of his duties
He
while
ran
being
away
there?
like a week ago and then
Yeah.
just randomly came back. You're telling me he can't just leave again? He needs her to formally let him go?
But also just like he doesn't even seem super like there's a real reason for it. He's just like, "Oh yeah, like that would be cool if you could do that. Like, hey, thanks. I just want to like go to Dor or Tando."
Right.
Like, are you
But
is it that he's so caught up about Blair?
Like, that's kind of what I was getting from it. I'm like, "Oh, he's upset about Blair and wants to leave," but also, like, if he's upset about Blair, weird way of showing it.
The other thing that I started thinking is like is Lenny in on it? And I don't know what it is. I genuinely cannot figure out what it is. But like if Lenny's in on it, what could he be gaining in the overall like insidious plot that's going on behind Peyton to ask for that, but then assume that she's going to be queen when she can do that for him? I don't
mm,
know. Or is this like, is this when we can prove that Lenny isn't part of it because he trusted that Peyton would be queen? So when something falls through or goes weird, Lenny can be like, I had no idea. Remember? I asked you to do that thing for me. I just
oh
don't know.
wow. Is he in on something with Calum? Like, I don't know.
He's been calling her princess since book one.
Yeah.
I could believe it.
Potentially. I guess we'll see.
Lenny has that weird plot armor that he just like assumed no one would tell anyone that he was in the resistance, and somehow Kai's never thought to say anything. Like, it does seem like it's a weird, like he's in a weird black hole
Mhm.
of the plot. That's all I
For
got.
sure.
Just a lot of questions. I really just have a lot of questions. And honestly, if anyone watching or listening to this wants to tell us, without spoiling, but like if you're at this point and you have better ideas, please let us know.
Or feel free to spoil. I'm fine with that.
Elena, we're gonna be done with this book in like the next 2 days. It's
I
fine.
I know I might read it tonight just so I can stop being like, "And maybe this is what happens," just so I know and it's over and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, this
Yeah,
made
Same.
sense or this didn't
I
make sense."
I just want to be done.
we're gonna know soon. Um, So to go back to Kit, who honestly, like, out of all of the weird stuff that's happening in this plot, to me is like the absolute weirdest because I agree with you. There does seem to be something physically wrong with him. Like, we talked about the cough, and at first it seemed like it could be like a weird tell of like mind control, or maybe it was just him feeling guilty about everything that was like going on. He's definitely sick. Like, he is
He's
physically sick,
ill.
but he's also mentally sick. Like, there's a lot going on with him, and I don't even know like where to start tackling Kit. But yeah, what do you guys think?
There's also something wrong with his power, like, Kai, like, feels Kit's power and it's like, "Ooh, I felt his power forever," and, like, it feels different.
Feels different, not like it's lesser. Because at first I was like, is it that he's sick? And like, when you're under the weather, like, I'm sure your power might be diminished. Maybe it's that he says it feels different.
No idea
Is
what to
it
do with that.
Is it the mind control? Because we've got the coughing, but we also have like Kit keeps talking to himself. Like, it definitely seems like he is answering to someone. Is it like a split personality type thing? Possibly. But there is something in Kit's mind that he's talking to. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's Callum. I genuinely don't know what to do with it. What what is going on with him?
Literally no idea. Because like, there's also a moment, like, when she's in the trial, she looks up at Kit and is like, "Oh, he looks remorse," and then, like, a look comes over his face and his personality changes, and then she kind of trails off, like, right before she has a realization, and I just don't know what that realization was gonna be.
He is definitely two different people. And at this point, I would say that it is either that he has suffered so much mental stress that he literally has like multiple personality disorder, or that Callum is mind controlling him and somehow has control over him to make this whole plot be happening.
Do you think it could be the same where they put an illusionist on Mac? Do you think that could apply to Kit?
Would guess no. Only because it's split second changes. It's not like in some scenes he's like Kit A and then in other scenes he's Kit B. It's that he literally changes mid moment, like mid sentence. And I don't think
Mm.
it can be an illusion.
You don't think it's some
Yeah.
kind of like polyjuice potion
I
where
don't think
someone's
so.
pretending to be Kit?
It seems very mental to me personally. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't I don't I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't seem like it could be like body swapping or anything. Like, it's like
Yeah.
something takes over his brain.
Mm.
Mental that's, like, now exhibiting physical. And what's
And you
weird
think
to
it's
me
oh, go ahead.
is I feel like a lot of his symptoms seem similar to Kai's mom. Like, because we got another Kai's mom scene, and it immediately starts with her coughing. And I was like, and maybe
Oh,
it's just that coughing is a common like sickness symptom, but I was like, okay, Kai's mom has been like holding on despite the fact she's been dying of sadness over her husband for this entire book. So like, does she have the same thing Kit does? Like, what's like, are they connected somehow, their illnesses?
I honestly hadn't thought about that because I think mentally I've written Kai's mom off entirely. But I would love that. Like, I would love if it was some sort of insidious, like, either physical and or mental illness that has been like thrust upon her that will go away after we figure out what's happening, and maybe she can like live a healthy life and be a better mom and make it up to Kai everything that she's done to him.
I hated the Edric chapter where he was like, and then I fell in love with her and she fell in love with me and we're in love. And I was like, that's the least believable thing I've read in this entire book.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole
all
chapter, I
his
feel like all we
chapters.
learned is like he's actually just an asshole.
Yeah. Especially towards Kit, like you could see like a glimpse. Like there was parts like of me that I wanted to feel bad for Kit, you know? I don't know how to feel by the end.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that kid is the mastermind of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
At
No.
most, I believe that it's like a Kit Callum like partnership, and possibly Callum came to him and was like, "Let me tell you the tea, and then we'll figure out what to do with it." I don't see how we go from like beginning of Powerless Kit to a Kit where we can like really believe he orchestrated everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And but be redeemed by the end.
Yeah. And it's very clear that Callum is keeping secrets. Like he wouldn't have
Mhm.
asked Peyton like, "Oh, what else was in those journals?" Just asking for funsies.
Right. Did anyone else cringe when Peyton asked him to walk her down the aisle? Or was it
Literally,
just
that happened, I was like, "Okay, so he's for sure her dad, right?" Like, no way. She's like, "Oh, you're the closest thing left I have to a father." I'm like, "A little okay."
totally eye rolled
Yeah.
there?
I
The
think
only thing that would have been worse is if she asked Kai to walk her down the aisle.
Oh. He didn't even want to be there.
I don't know what to do with Kai and Peyton. I feel like I keep talking myself back into them, and I like at the end of the last section, they had their little fight, but then like right at the beginning of this section they were like, "Okay, we're not fighting anymore. We are just I thought, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know that it like gets a little bit of reading between the lines, but I felt like they had decided we are just going to be together. Like I'm going to marry Kit, you're going to be the enforcer, but like we are going to be together. That is our only future." So I got very confused when all of a sudden like Kai is very much like, I well, this is the last time I can ever see your face, because after this we won't be together anymore. Like, did I misunderstand the beginning of this section? And it's okay if the answer is
I
yes.
can't
Thanks.
comment on the beginning of this section, if I'm being honest. I read that part quite quickly because Jamie had already synopsised it before me.
You got
That's
the
right. I
TLDR
did.
and that was enough.
I mean, I scrolled through it. I, like, read every, like, 10th word or so just to see if anything really popped out.
I just felt like they had their moment after she saves him on the ship,
Mhm.
and they were just like, we are obviously we love each other, like this is it, we are. And I also felt like they had both already told each other that they loved each other, so then when they like kind of had that I love you reveal, I was like, I feel like we've already done this, but okay, great. um I don't know, I
They
just
didn't though. They didn't say the words. This was
yeah,
like the first. I think because it was just obviously like a near death situation. Not that they've had that already.
yeah, yeah, I don't know, I felt weird about Peyton. Seems weirdly not excited, but just like happy about the wedding. I feel like she's not depressed enough for
Oh,
me. Like,
yeah. She seemed detached in that scene
yes.
for the willow tree.
Yeah.
It's just the pacing of that just was a little odd to me. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
did I read that right? She just, like, left Kit at the
she was like, "Okay, cool. The decorations look awesome. Bye." And then just literally like
Left
ran.
peace
to hook up with
out.
his brother?
Yeah.
I actually don't think I can talk about the last chapter personally. I don't think I can do it.
Do it. I think that's the last thing we need to talk about, right?
I I think just like holistically speaking, I just don't understand where her brain is at. I don't. I don't understand. And I think the thing that I keep coming to is that I just feel like she's being really selfish. And it would be one thing if like we got more introspection from Peyton about like this is killing me, but I have to do this. And like I like just seeing both her and Kai like losing themselves in this thing that they have to do, then I think I could more get behind this like one moment that they stole for each other, like and themselves. But I walked away from the last chapter feeling more like it was Peyton being like, well, this is my only chance to have you, so I might as well before I go marry the other brother. And then
Well,
like, peace out, Kai, good luck.
and Kit keeps bringing up the fact they love each other. Like he keeps bringing it up over and over again throughout this book. Kit's been like, "And you love my brother." I'm like, "What are we doing with this information?"
Right.
It's
It's
just
because like
so awkward.
the conversation keeps getting changed. And I was like, why don't we actually just like talk to Kit? Like, why doesn't Peyton just be like, you know what, you're right. I realize we have to get married for Ilya, but can I be with your brother? Like, can we just decide to? And I feel like I've said this so many times, but like, I don't, I don't understand how we've gotten to this point.
Okay, cool. Time to read the last section.
I feel like if she actually walks down the aisle and like our I do's are said
They're
and they
going to
walk,
be. I'm
I
going to
don't
be shocked if they don't happen.
I might need to start listening slash reading to the book on a device that is not my phone so I don't yeet it across the room.
I just
I
feel
feel like
like this section had some truly questionable sections, and I can't see it not happening in the next section. Like the whole like Mac scene, I hated. I did not like. Did not enjoy.
same. I was really angry about that.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going into this last section anticipating more sections that where I'm like, okay, so they're gonna like walk down the aisle and get married because that's would be the worst option. So it's gonna happen.
I can see it happening in the way that we've said that it's like it's really just to put Peyton on the throne and then somehow Kit pieces out. I don't see how we can make his illness make sense. Like I just feel like it would feel so out of left field. So I feel like it has to be something else. Like is Kit just like does he have his bags packed and he's like I'm going to go live in Israel for the rest of my life because that queen seems really cool and we're in love because we've been pen pals forever and that's the I'd prefer that honestly. Final thoughts, final theories? Anyone?
Uh, I wonder we're seeing roses a lot, and I wonder if it has like a bigger significance. I wonder if we'll see the Isram Queen again or the other territories, the other countries. 'Cause it's been mentioned. I don't think we ever gone to Door. No. What's the other one?
Tando.
I forget. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, no, Jamie, I'm glad that you brought that up because I also think that like the use of roses is now like very in our face. And all we know about roses from this world is that they have some sort of medicinal property. So I have been wondering if we're going to use that at all. That did remind me of like the weird mention when Callum's like, I hope you enjoy the roses. I've been growing them for over a decade. And Peyton's like, but you just got here. And then I lost all of my belief that we all were on the like of the understanding that Callum has been the castle's mind reader for forever. And I got really confused all over again about like what is what does everyone believe of Callum? Because to me, that line means that Peyton thinks that he's new on the scene.
Which
We
makes sense.
definitely
Because we don't learn that he's the one that's been here this whole time with Kit. Like we only know that from Kit's POV.
And
We
even then, no one's actually ever said out loud, Callum has been the mind reader
Right.
forever.
well, Kit does, or at least from Kit's POV, he's like, "Oh, my dad's trusted advisor, mind read." But I mean, again, that could be like if we are assuming a situation where Callum is like impacting Kit's thoughts and potentially like changing his mind, like it's possible that was implanted. But I'm going. I haven't gone back, but I swear in book two we get a Kit POV where he's like, "Oh, and this guy was my dad's mind reader slash advisor."
Yeah. I
Yeah, I remember
also,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
And we don't get I don't do you guys remember in the Edric chapters if the mind reader ever shows face? Like I know the
Mm-mm,
name has never been mentioned versus
mm-mm,
like the sister being named Damien or something like
mm-hmm.
that.
No, we
Like
don't
that.
in the Egypt chapters yet know who the mind reader is.
We also this was like hinted at in Powerful that there was someone with the power as controller, but I don't think we met that person yet.
We haven't met
Yeah.
that person. Guys,
Maybe
what
in
if
this last section.
what if Lenny is a controller? Because isn't Lenny a hyper?
He's a hyper.
And like at one point in the books, they talk about how like a lot of ordinaries pretend to be hypers because it's the easiest thing to like pretend to be. Because like there's no great way to prove that you're a hyper. And like we haven't gotten a controller yet. And like assuming Calum is a mind reader, which he's shown that he is, like if there is someone controlling everyone's actions, it would have to be someone else. And the only person that it really could be that is named would be Lenny. I mean, it doesn't really make sense because then he could have like controlled Peyton to stop her from killing Blair. Like, there's definitely holes in that theory, but just a thought.
Did he control Blair to get killed by Peyton? Because I still have a lot of questions about how Peyton killed Blair so easily.
Great question. No idea.
I mean, it has to be someone that's been under our noses, you know. I I just don't know who it could be. I feel like Calum is just like the obvious choice, but maybe that's too easy.
Yeah, but assuming a mind reader and being able to control people are two different powers, then it
Yeah.
maybe we were supposed to be looking at Calum, but then it's someone else. It could be his daughter. His daughter's been sus, but then we don't see her very much.
She says she's a silence, but we've never seen her use
Yeah,
that power.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
And
guess we'll
Iris
see.
was Iris was like an emotion type power, right?
Yeah, I
I
don't think
don't
they
know
ever
if that
say the
was ever
name for
listed.
it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. But there's powers that are that hasn't been named or like
Mm-hmm.
officially named. There could be something else that we're not thinking of. And I don't know how to feel about that.
I'm so excited to read the last part of this. I haven't been so excited to read a part of this book or read a part of this series in so long. Like I'm just so ready to like see have everything out in the open and be like, okay, so this is what happened.
I am hoping so hard that we're wrong about everything and we get to like the actual like final twist. I want so bad for this next episode. Like I hope for all of you out there that you immediately finish this and you can just go right into the next episode and it starts with all of us being like we were wrong. The plot holes have all been filled. That twist was amazing. Best end of a book I've ever read. Like I genuinely hope that I come in here and I have to apologize to everyone. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for option like F because I feel like we've come up with a lot of options and that it's cool. Like it is just it's banging.
I'm hoping still to get rid of these books. My library. I'm
What
done.
if we get to the end of this, Jamie, and they're now at the top of your book dragon shelf? Like what if
I don't know. I doubt it cuz like I didn't even enjoy the last book. And I thought the first book was okay because it's like a
Yeah.
first book in a series. We're just getting to know this world and everything. So I thought it was okay. But it makes me mad with everything that we read so far and how that novella was. I just it hurts me. It hurts me.
Yeah. I think my biggest, like, the thing that I haven't liked the most that has been upsetting for me is like I've wanted to feel like torn apart with all of the Kai and Peyton scenes and them like wanting to be together and not being able to be together. And I just can't because I'm not like in it with them. And also I don't believe in the world in which this book ends and they're not together. That being said, if this book ends and they're not together, like I will just retcon it from my memory. I'll just poof, it'll be gone.
Oh, it's scary to think that that could be a possibility.
I think that it could be. And yeah, but mostly I don't think that that's how this book ends. So and we've seen why. So it's just like I don't feel the emotional like, oh my goodness, are they not going to end up together to the point where I'm like sitting in these moments with them like crying and like losing my mind like they are because I truly like I'm calling the bluff. I'm calling it.
What if I just read the epilogue? Like, right now, just go and read the epilogue.
No. That would be probably the most unhinged thing you've ever done. Which like there's part of me that wants to let you do it, but no,
Yeah,
you're not doing
do
it.
actually. I part of me does. And I'm
I'm
usually against
so
that.
tempted.
Let's say so we stop making everybody nervous, especially if they're like just listening to this and they don't see us all like cracking up laughing. If Elena is going to just read the epilogue, she's going to do it after this and we'll hear about it after the fact. But I think that's it. Like I know there were a million things that happened in the section that we did not touch on. So if there's anything in particular that you want to like dive into or a specific theory, let us know. Honestly, would love to like figure out what everybody thinks is going on. What scenes did you love that we didn't love? Like tell me about all the things that we should be thinking of in a different way. Would love to hear it. So let us know. And we're going to finish this up. And then next week, we will be back here with our finale episode. I don't want to know what you just saw. We are going to end on Alina's face looking like that.
Yep.
And we will talk to you guys next week after we finish Fearless. Bye.